Hey internet friends, Grace here, falling back into the same old booby trap again. Reacting to state propaganda. The upside down world is back at it, continuing to erase women one language guideline at a time. So moms, did you breastfeed your children or did you chest feed your children? Did you nourish them with breast milk or did they guzzle politically correct human milk? A recent report says that midwives from a hospital in England have been told to no longer use words such as breastfeeding or even breast milk, as to be inclusive of trans parents. The substitution for breast milk terminology will be human milk or chest milk or milk from the feeding mother or parent. Brighton and Sussex University hospitals will be the first in the country to utilize trans-inclusive language within their own maternity ward, whose name is also getting a makeover and will henceforth be known as the Perinatal Services Department. I know, wokeness doesn't even spare the titty milk. Can you believe it? Now, I always try to understand both sides of the argument, so I took to woke Twitter to comprehend the need for such language. And the explanation I got is that people who don't identify as women can have a uterus and become pregnant with birth and breastfeeding as a consequence of pregnancy. And because of the terminology used by the medical community at large, they feel unsupported and excluded. Quote, as midwives and birth workers, we focus on improving access and health outcomes for marginalized and disadvantaged groups. Women are frequently disadvantaged in healthcare, as are trans and non-binary people, the Brighton and Sussex University Hospital said. By continuing to use the term woman, we commit to working on addressing health inequalities for all of those who use our services. The word mothers on its own will also be avoided, with midwives told to use mothers or birthing parents instead. The word woman will also be swapped with people or other inclusive language. According to this article I'm reading, only 1% of adults in England identify as transgender or non-binary. And these clinical language guidelines are catering directly to the 1% instead of the majority. No word on if they're going to call breast cancer chest cancer, but we're all waiting on the edge of our seats for an update on that. As a mother who breastfeeds, my baby drinks breast milk, and she doesn't drink milk from my chest, she drinks from my breast, because I'm a woman and women give birth and breastfeed. Women have milk-producing glands in their breasts, not chests, that allow us to do so. Had I hired a midwife and she was using language like chest feeding and avoided using the word mother, I would have fired her on the spot for straying so far away from fact, evidence-based research, and reality. Women give birth and their breasts make milk that nourishes a child and gives the child life. Men are wonderful and they are excellent at so many things, but they don't give birth. They don't breastfeed. And on the topic of words hold a lot more meaning than you realize. For instance, there's a distinct difference between a choice and a decision. A choice implies you can change your mind and go back on it. However, a decision is much more final. You've decided. You're done. Words have intention wrapped up in a slew of letters. And when I say them, they reflect my attitude, my reality, and my future. You can use language to influence and sway the masses. When you control the words people use, these ever-changing linguistics they're trying to pull on us, it will inevitably have some kind of repercussion, seemingly uplift the 1% for a fraction of a second or demoralize the 99% for the foreseeable future. Which is totally insane, and I mean it. It's insane. I used to dance around how insane this was, the attack on all of God's creation, because the last thing I wanted to do was offend or hurt someone's feelings. But you gotta call it like you see it. You can't invert reality to accommodate the 1% of the population's feelings. Lying isn't nice at all, and erasing women, dehumanizing an entire populace, and purposely creating division is profoundly anti-human. But hey, just between you and me, if I had to take a wild guess, I'd guess anti-human was the whole point all along. This might sound like a clickbaity, isolated incident, simply a headline meant to inflame, but the insanity seems like it's becoming more prevalent as the days grow long. This slow roll of demoralizing tactics that ultimately subvert an entire populace. What's concerning is the consequences for refusing to comply. In some places, not using the correct pronoun gets you fined. And being on the wrong side of the transgender athlete in women's sports debate gets you canceled and labeled a bigot. The slope has never been more slippery. Sometimes I wonder if your average person in the trans movement is even pushing for half of this stuff, or if it's some creature behind a curtain, because the movement is really not about inclusivity, equality, or love. It's about compliance and conformity. While this adoption of language is only happening in England right now, how long until it's implemented worldwide? So let me ask you, internet friends, what do you think? Would you use these terms if they implemented them across medical facilities nationwide? Let me know. I always look forward to reading your comments. Thank you so much for watching, subscribing, and supporting my channel on Patreon. Bye!